Welcome to this video on using CINAHL headings in the CINAHL database. In this video, you'll learn what CINAHL headings are, why they're important, and how to use them for precise searches. First off, let's talk about what are CINAHL headings. All they are basically words or phrases that are used to describe and label what the articles in CINAHL are about. They're useful because they're considered a controlled vocabulary. And what that means is that each heading has a precise definition that is used consistently and comprehensively throughout the CINAHL database. So every time there is an article within the database, someone reviews that article and labels it with headings that describe what that article is about. Sometimes these terms aren't the terms that you would think of, but they are used throughout the database in a consistent manner. So if the article is about topic A, that topic is always described with the same heading. This goes beyond keyword searching that you've been doing maybe previously and finds articles that are really about your topic. All keyword searching does is it finds those words within the article somewhere. What heading searching does is it finds articles that are labeled as about your topic. Let's look at what this looks like within the CINAHL database. Let's say that we're doing a search or we're interested in research about how smoking is increasing in LGBTQ communities, and we're interested in looking at how or what is successful in stopping smoking within these communities. We typed in LGBTQ and we see that it comes up with a whole bunch of suggestions. These are not necessarily the best suggestions, they're just what other people tried, but in this case, these all look like relevant ideas. So we did that, and then we're going to want to do this stop smoking concept. So here's another list of suggestions that looks good. So we run our search and we find that we get 3,000 results. We know that's too many from previous tutorials. We might try using some of our advanced search techniques. That's one way to narrow down. But another way to do a more precise search instead of just finding these terms somewhere is to use our CINAHL subject headings. If we go back to the advanced search options, we'll see CINAHL headings tab below the search boxes. If we click on that tab, what we're doing is really entering a thesaurus that allows us to search for and find the headings. They are not always what we think they are. So in this case, we don't know if LGBTQ is a heading, and right now we're not searching for it as if it is. So we're going to search for these terms to see what the CINAHL headings are. You might have to try a couple different terms if you don't come up with anything right away, because there's a lot of ways to say the same thing. So I'm going to try LGBTQ and see what comes up. After I run the search within CINAHL headings, you'll find it gives you a list of terms. It's looking for those terms within all of these phrases. If I scroll down, I see health services for LGBTQ persons. That's not really what I want. Children of these persons, not what I want. But then I see LGBTQ plus persons. And that's pretty much what I think I was looking for. If you click on that link, it'll open up with more information about that subject heading. So we get a brief description or scope, which basically is that definition of the controlled vocabulary. So in this case, LGBTQ plus persons are individuals who are sexually attracted to persons of the same gender, who align with non-normative sexual or gender identities, or who have a gender identity differing from the one assigned at birth. That is pretty much what I want. If you scroll down, you'll see related headings like bisexuality, gender identity, and those are all sort of included within this. So I'm pretty happy with that. If you scroll even further, you see what's called the tree view. What that is it shows you that subject heading within a sort of hierarchy or tree of all of these terms and how they're related. So you'll notice it is with under sexual and gender minorities. So that's going to be a broader term because it's higher up on the tree, and that's under a higher term called named groups, which is kind of everybody. In this case, I like the idea of sexual and gender minorities. I can click on that if I want to see what that is. And in this case, it seems pretty broad. I like it, so I'm going to use that as my term, my subject heading. All you do is click on the radio button, the checkbox rather, to select that, and you can click Add to Search. And that's going to add it to your search boxes up above. We still have the previous search in there, so I'm just going to X those out. So I start new. And right now we've got a search using the subject heading with sexual and gender minorities. So it'll find all the articles that are labeled as about that topic. Next, I'm going to search for the stopping smoking idea. So I'm just going to type stop smoking and see what comes up. And in this case, we see some various terms with smoking, and then we see smoking cessation. And that sounds about right. It's a little fancier way to say stop smoking. So again, discontinuing the smoking habit, that looks good. Once I've clicked that option from that term list, you'll notice that there's a major concept checkbox. That means that not only is that article about smoking cessation, it's really one of the major concepts of that article. You could click that if you want. This drop down option also lets you look at different subheadings. Subheadings are just smaller ideas within smoker cessation about that topic. So if you were curious about the ethical issues regarding stopping smoking, you could click that. If you're interested in education only, like education programs maybe about stopping smoking, you could click that. In this case, I'm going to leave it just so it's including all of the subject headings. So I'm going to add that to our search up above. And this time I've got the two concepts. I'm going to hit click search. And now we're down to only 48 results. And we know that all 48 of these results are about those two topics. So this is a much more precise result set than our previous one. You could add more subject headings combined with ors, which would mean that it would find that one or the other one, which would expand your search if you need more results. Another way to find out what these subject headings are to look below the title and abstract information where it says subjects, and you could see all the different subject headings that this article is labeled with. So if you were interested in adding more just to be more expansive, you could look at those as well. This system is very similar to the subject headings used within Medline or PubMed if you've used that. So unfortunately, they use a different subject heading system called MESH or MESH. And so those are different subject headings. Sometimes they're similar, but you would have to look up their subject headings separately. But the way to look them up is very similar. In this video, we discussed what CINAHL headings are and why to use them, and learned how to use the CINAHL heading interface and features to perform very precise searches. If you still have questions or need any further research assistance, please do not hesitate to contact me, or please check out all of the other videos in the nursing playlist.